Hello and welcome to this video where we'll finally come into IAC, Infrastructure as Code. You're used to going into the Azure portal and clicking on different resources to add resources. Then you click on a lot of buttons to do a lot of different configurations and so on and forth. And then afterwards you used to delete the resources because you don't want it to cost. Can this be automated? That is the question. And if we can automate it, can we then make it reusable and change it and version control it? Yes, we can using IAC, Infrastructure as Code. The software, the program that we will use for IAC is called Terraform. Terraform is used for Infrastructure as Code. It's a cross-platform. You can use it for Azure, you can use it for GCP, you can use it for a lot of other places. But we will use it together with Azure in this video, and we will go through how to set it up that you can get started with the fun world of Infrastructure as Code. Let's move on to my repository because that's where we'll start, and I will refer you to different links. Here I am in my repository, and you can see here I have a setup for Terraform for Windows and one for Mac. And here setup CLI for Windows and one for Mac. Okay, and in this video I will go through, since I'm in a Mac, I will do the actual commands in Mac to show you. However, it's similar in Windows. It's just a little bit other steps that you need to take. I'll show you where we go first. If we can go into the Mac setup first. The Mac setup, you need to have Homebrew to install Terraform. If you don't have Homebrew installed, you go into here. And you will get into Homebrew, and you just copy this one and paste it into your terminal, into your sed shell, okay? And then this will install Homebrew for you, and this is the package manager that you will use to install a lot of different cool stuffs. And one of the cool stuffs is, of course, Terraform. Then we go into this command here. And note that where do I get all these? I get all these from, if you go into the Windows, there is a page. Let me show you here. Install Terraform HashiCorp. You click on this one. And here is basically the information on how you install Terraform. Okay? These are basically the steps that I've taken, and I've just simplified it a little bit and added into my README. Starting with the Homebrew, we take this brew tab, HashiCorp tab. We go into terminal and do that. Brew tab, HashiCorp tab. Okay, done. And then run this command, brew install HashiCorp Terraform. Copy that one. Go into my terminal, paste it in. And it will install Terraform. It will take a little bit of time. It's done. Good. It was quite fast. And the similar commands for Windows is that you need to go into this page here. There's a link. You go into this page, and here it says this is for macOS. For Windows, what you do is that you download the binary, either this version or this version, depending on your system. When you download it, you will get this file. You extract it, and then when you have unzipped it, you go into program files in your C drive, create a new folder, call it Terraform, and then you paste that file into that folder. It's an exe file, you paste it in, and then you go into your system environment variables, and you need to choose environment variable and click on path in system variables and click edit. Here you click new and you add in the folder path to where your terraform.exe is. Basically, you make a path and you connect it towards where the folder of this Terraform file binary is. This means that you will be able to write Terraform command in your PowerShell or Git bash. And then when you're done with that, go into PowerShell or Git bash and type Terraform version, and then you will get the version of it. And also here's a video showing these steps above. It's not made by me. You just go in there and you can watch this video. It's very well done, I think, and it shows these steps. But for me here, for a Mac setup, what we will do here is that, let me see. Yeah, exactly, the Mac setup. Yeah, we do this installation and then we are finished with Terraform. What I do is I will clear the terminal and I will do Terraform version. And you can see directly I have 1.13.3. Good, it works. And then we have the Terraform installed in our system. Okay, but that is not all, because what I said before is that we will use Terraform together with Azure, right? And in order to make use of Azure, the Terraform needs to, it depends on the Azure CLI. What you need to do is that you go into terminal, you need to run this brew update and brew install Azure CLI. I'll copy this one, go back to my terminal, and I'll paste it in, brew update, and then brew install Azure CLI. It takes a little bit of time to install the Azure CLI, I think. But I'll go into the official documentation here, because this is also, it's based on this documentation from HashiCorp. And what I did is simplified some steps only. Here you can see it requires this Terraform and Azure CLI to be installed. Okay, to install Azure CLI, you can see the PowerShell. There's a command here that you should copy for Windows. And for macOS is this command. And then what you do afterwards, you authenticate to Azure CLI. I'll show you how to do that. Now this is finished. I can clear my terminal and I will do Azure login. After I've done Azure login, you will get a pop-up where you will log in to your Azure account through the browser. And after that, you will get some instructions on which subscription to choose, and you choose the subscription that you have, the ones that you want to use. After that, you make sure to copy the subscription ID, because we will use that later on. Using the subscription ID, we will go into the next steps here. You can see what we need to do is set the account subscription. You need to do Azure account set dash the subscription. And here I will paste in my subscription ID, and it has set my subscription. Before you work with Terraform, you should set your environment variable in the shell, or go into .zshrc to set it if you're in Mac. You just do basically export this variable here, and you add in your subscription ID. And by doing that, you will be able to run your Terraform commands. And for the Windows, it's similar. You just copy this one and you paste that one. This will install Azure CLI for you. And then you can do Azure login, and you can do AZ account set dash the subscription, and then you put in your subscription ID. And similarly, but for Windows, you do like this. There's no ZSHRC in Windows. Instead, you do this one, environment arm subscription ID, and then put in your subscription ID, and you do that before you work with Terraform. Okay, I will go into code now and continue there. I'm inside of Visual Studio Code, and we start with going into the extensions, and you type in Terraform. What you need to do is you need to install these three: Terraform, HashiCorp Terraform, and Microsoft Terraform. This will help you in your development. It will help you a lot with syntax highlighting, etc. You should definitely install this. And after you have installed them, let's create touch.git more. You should definitely work in a Git repository and in a GitHub repository as well, or it should be version controlled. And when you do that, it's important that you don't version control a lot of Terraform stuff I want to put in here. Go into Google and then just search for Terraform gitignore, and you will have this GitHub here, a collection of useful gitignore templates. We go in there and you can search for Terraform and terraform.gitignore. Go in here and then you just copy everything here, and then go back to Visual Studio Code and paste it here. Here you have different things for Terraform that we should not put in version control, right? And also I will put in something called env variable.sh. I want to make a shell script here, which I will use. Actually, I won't do this because it's not the same for Windows and Mac. Okay. Starting with this git, we have done this extension, install those. Now it's time for us to actually create, here in the setup Terraform, we can do Terraform init. The directory has no Terraform configuration files. You may begin working with Terraform immediately by creating Terraform configuration files. Initialized in Terraform. So this means that we're lacking a .tf file, basically main.tf. Okay. Now we have a Terraform configuration file, and now I can do Terraform init. Then it says Terraform has been successfully initialized, and we need to actually put in some things here. Let's go back to the browser here, and let's go back to, let's see. Yeah, here. Okay, I've taken this from the official documentation. I will click on this one, and you can see here we have build infrastructure. We go down a little bit. What we did is that we have done Azure login. We're inside, and then we set the subscription, and based on that one, we need to set environment variables. Actually, we don't need to set all of these. This suffices with ARM subscription ID. And here you can see this is for PowerShell, this is for macOS, okay? And then here, now it's time for, here you can see write the configuration. The .tf files, they are called configuration files in Terraform language. Okay, what you do is that here it just creates a folder and then cd to that folder, fine. And then here main.tf, they want to have this type of configuration. What does this mean? I'll copy this and I will explain a little bit. VS Code, paste this in. Here you have Terraform block, and you have the required providers, which is Azure. Azure RM is here you have the source, HashiCorp Azure RM, and which version it should be. At least it's larger than 3.0.2. And here is a required version of the Terraform, and then you have which provider you use. We use the Azure RM, which is this one. This is just configurations that we can use the Azure. And here we have what this actually is Azure. I'll show you how to write this from scratch here. Now we want to create a resource. You can do resource, and you can see there's autocomplete thanks to these extensions. We have Azure R resource group, and you can see this one. I can tab it, and then the name, we can call it RG. This is the name of the Terraform variable, but it's not the name of the actual resource group or actual resource. The name of the resource is name. Here I can call it my TF. I will just use the same, my TF resource group. I'll use the same as the one provided in the documentation. And the location, I will choose here, Sweden Central. That is it. And now, when we have this, what you should do is, okay, save it first, and then you do Terraform init. And now you can see there's this .terraform.lock.hc, and then there's this .terraform folder with another file here, Terraform provider Azure RM. This .terraform folder, well, it is used for local caching and operational data. Basically, it's our provider plugins, modules, etc. is stored under this .terraform folder, and this .terraform lock.hcl, it locks the provider version for consistency and reproducibility. That's basically what it is. And when you do init, you initialize these files based on your configurations, all of the configurations in this folder, and like all the .tf files basically. And then when you have done init, you do Terraform plan to plan for what are the things that we want to create. And this creates this terraform.tf state, which is basically the state of our infrastructure right now. And then you can see here plus create. It will do plus resource, Azure RM resource group RG, plus ID. These are the new things that have been added. And what it will do is plan 1 to add, 0 to change, 0 to destroy. It will create a resource group. It says here, Azure RM resource group.rg will be created. Okay. Now we do Terraform apply to actually apply this infrastructure. We plan to see what is going to happen. Now we actually do the apply. And it will prompt us what will happen now. It says that, okay, Terraform use the selected providers to generate the following execution plan. Resource actions are indicated with the following symbols plus create. Okay, it will create all this, or basically this resource group. Plan 1 to add, 0 to change, 0 to destroy. Do you want to perform this action? Enter value. Yes. You need to write YES. Okay? And when we have done this, it will create our infrastructure. You can see a resource with the ID. Okay, it already exists because I already created it. I will just call it cool resource group Terraform. Something like this now. I'll just do Terraform apply. Actually, I can do auto approve. I don't need to type yes now. Basically, I created this resource group. Yes, let's see. Yes, you can see it's creating Azure RM resource group.rg creating. Apply complete. 1 added, 0 changed, 0 destroyed. Okay, let's go into Azure to look into this resource group that has been created. Okay, you can see here. Wow. Cool resource group -Terraform. Yes, it has been created. And it is empty. Of course, I didn't add anything other inside this resource group. But it was cool that we managed to create it through Terraform. You see, infrastructure as code. I write code. I can commit and push this code that my infrastructure is stored inside of this file. This infrastructure, we did this and it created it in Microsoft Azure. You want to save money. Of course, the resource group doesn't cost anything, but you may have a lot of resources that you have created in Terraform. You just do Terraform destroy. And I'll do that. And it will destroy the resources that it has created. Yeah, it takes a little bit of time, but it shouldn't be any issues. Yes, you can see it's destroying this one. Azure resource group.rg, refreshing state. Okay, it says that it will destroy this. You can see minus here to destroy. And then enter value, yes. And it says it's destroying this one. It's not finished yet, but when it's finished, we will just refresh Azure portal. Yeah, okay. Destroyed, complete. One destroyed, it says. Okay. Here, just refresh the portal, and you can see it disappeared. Awesome. Cool that this worked. This is like a hello world of Terraform, and I hope that this worked for you as well. Okay, I hope that this was fun for you, as it was fun for me, setting up Terraform and setting up Azure CLI, and then exporting the subscription ID, and then we were able to create a simple configuration file, a main.tf, and then we just copied in some code from the documentation to basically create a resource group into Azure, and then ran Terraform init, Terraform to create all the files that is needed, and then Terraform plan to see what is going to be created before you actually create the infrastructure, and then you do Terraform apply, and then you can see the infrastructure actually is building. The thing we're building is just a resource group inside of Azure, but remember that if you're creating other resources, then there is cost as you would do normally when you create resources in the Azure portal. Yes, and then finally we destroyed our resources that were created using Terraform destroy. And then basically if you want to recreate those resources, you just do Terraform apply again and it will create all the infrastructure for you again. This is really fun to work with. I hope that you will enjoy Terraform and follow along with more Terraform videos. There will be many. I really like to work in Terraform and plan to create a lot of infrastructure as code, as I see this is much better than to work only with the portal, because you do want to version control your infrastructure. You want to be sure what you have done. You want to be able to put it into CI/CD and have the infrastructure as a part of your development flow. I hope that you've learned a lot, and thank you for watching this video, and see you in the next one. Bye.